sometimes you get the same formula and you can change the letters. So I've seen that same formula written with these letters. This is what it used to be on the formula sheet before they took it off. And on the exam then would explain each of these things, that the A is your amount, P is your principal or starting amount, R is your interest rate as a decimal, N is the number of compounding periods per year, and T is the time in use. So based on this, $1,500 is invested at 4% interest, compounded quarterly, and we want to find out when the amount is $2,500. So the first part of this question is just plugging things into the formula where they belong. So the amount is $2,500. The principal is $1,500. The interest rate was 4%, so as a decimal, that would be 0.04. Compounded quarterly, quarterly means 4 times a year. So then the N would be 4. And the only thing we don't know is T. Also, if you were looking at your powers chart, you could say, look at the base. This is 1.01. Do we have a 1.01 base on our powers chart anywhere? No. So all we can do at this point, as a starting point, is we're going to look at how we can use technology to solve this. Because later on, we're going to do this algebraically, but we need logarithms. And we don't have logarithms yet. At this point, all we can do is use graphing technology or decimals. So I'm going to create 2 equations. I'm going to create one equation where I type in the 2,500, and the other equation where I type in the 1,500, 1 plus 0.04 divided by 12, close that bracket, to the exponent of 12, and I don't have a t, but I have an x. Now, most likely, if you hit graph at this time, you will see no graphs on your screen whatsoever. The reason you see no graphs on your screen is, first of all, 2,500 is a straight horizontal line. We still need to know how to graph things mentally, even when we're using technology. So I'm going to go to my window, and I'm going to go, maybe change this up to 3,000, and see if that's enough. I'm going from -1 to 100, from -10 to 3,000. If I hit graph, the straight line shows up at 2,500. Here's my exponential graph. They intersect right there. I can go second, calculate, number 5. Where do they intersect? Enter on the first curve, enter on the second curve. Yes, push enter 3 times, and we get 12.79 units.
Wait, how many did you just solve on the graph? Like you changed the period to 12, not 4.
So in this, I made my exponent of a 12, because the formula says n, which is the number of compounding periods. Well, that should be 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I just am so used to doing, why did I change it to 12? Just because I am used to doing monthly, because it's probably the most common. So if you're right, this should be delete a 4 there, and it also should be a 4 up here. Yeah, because we're supposed to copy this in, and I didn't copy it very well. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hit graph. And I'm missing my x. My x in. And they still intersect. And we can go second, calculate, where do they intersect? Push enter 3 times. 12.83. I changed my answer just a little bit. exam, you'll need 3 decimal places. So we should practice that right away. We get 12.834 years. And we're going to be able to solve this eventually with logarithms and algebraic.
Wouldn't you have your maximum index at the window?
So on my window here, I picked 3,000 for my Y-max because I wanted to see that 2,500. That was the most important thing. The X-max, if you had started at 10 and graphed it, sometimes this is what happens. You're like, ooh, they almost intersected. So you're going to have to go back to your window, and 10 wasn't enough. 20 probably would be yes. And you want to see where both of those graphs intersect so that you can solve for that. Okay, we're going to, questions you can circle for this one are 12 and 13. We're going to quickly get our test back.